Hey everyone, and welcome for a new video. So I'm super excited about this video today because we will discuss the Resplendent crafter tool and how to farm them with a macro. So before I start, I wanted to give a big thank you to Dr. Momoshi. I will put the link of his rotations on the descriptions below. And also thank you to Ash10 for your video a few days ago that was promoting Dr. Momoshi work. So for the one that doesn't really know what are the Resplendent tool, they are the tool that you can see on my screen right now. They are these tools that have the same glowing golden effects that you can get from the Resplendent gathering tool. So they look really cool, but also they are super time consuming and they were not that easy to craft before. So I did that one manually. I really enjoyed the experience of doing one craft tool manually with all the expert rotations, because the expert rotations are a little bit different than the usual rotations that you are used to, because you will get new crafting conditions, like instead of having only poor, excellent, and good, you will have centered, sturdy, pliant, and other crafting conditions. So it's really case by case that you will have to do a specific actions to be able to get to a specific level to get the materials that you need to get this tool. So in today's video, I wanted to decompose the video in different parts. First, I will explain you what you need to do to get the tool. So you have different steps, different materials to craft, to try to NPC and stuff like that. The second part of the video will be about the preparations, so the gear requirement and the objects that you will need to get. And the third part of the video will be the macros. So we will go through 3 different macros, because you will see that you will have to craft 3 different items to get to this tool. So we will cover the 3 different macros. So let's jump directly on the process to get them. Let's now start with the process to get the tool. So you will have to go to Ulmore and you will talk with Limbeth for everything related to the Resplendent tool exchange. So here you will have to craft different components that will be used to craft components of the next level until you are getting to the final material for the job that you are trying to get the Resplendent tool. So first you will start with the material A. The material A can be obtained by the script exchange just next to it. You will have to go to Crafter Scripts Master Recipe Material MISC and you select the White Script Exchange level 80 materials, and you will see all the different material A that you need to start the craft. As you see, there are different materials per script, per job, so you will have to buy the material based on the different job that you want to do. So it costs 50 white script per material A. You will need a total of 120 of them. So you have 2 possibilities here. You can craft the white script. Not super easy, not super difficult to do. I have a video on my channel if you want. I will put that on the descriptions below. Or you can directly buy them in the market board. On my server, they are around 1 to 2K each, so it's not a lot of money, but up to you. You can farm them. It could be as fast and as cheap as you want. So when you have the material A, you will need to go to your crafting log. You need to access the master recipe, the book number 8, and at the bottom of the book number 8, you will see the 3 recipes that you will need to use to be able to get to the final materials. So first, you will use the material A that you just bought from the script exchange. You will craft that, and this material A will become components A. The components A will be traded to Limbeth. You see here the component A, and she will give you material B. If you reach the maximum collectibility for the craft A, you will get 2 of the material B. Now let's go back to the crafting log. To craft the component B, you will need 2 material B. So if you are not doing max collectibility on this recipe, you will need to do this recipe 2 times to be able to get enough items to craft the component B. But you will see that in my video, the macro will give you the max collectability, so you will not need to do 2 crafts to get the collection speed. When you have the component speed, you can trade it to Limbet again, and you will get the material C. With the material C, again, you go to recipe, you will need 2 of them to be able to create the component C. The component C, you go back to Limbeth, and you will be able to trade the component C to a final material. Again, you will need to get the maximum collectability to get 2 of them. My macro will not guarantee you 100% of the max collectability. It will only guarantee you 100% for the material B and A, but not for the C. But you will see that you will potentially sometimes get the 100% collectability, so it will not be that hard. When you get the 60 final material, you go to Limbeth again, and you will be able to trade the final material to get your tool. On top of that, when you unlock the 8 tools, you will be able to get the title and the fatigable, and it's a pretty cool title to get. So that's kind of it about the main process to get the tool. So now, preparations-wise. Preparations-wise, you will need several items. The first one that you will need to get is the Cunning Craftsman's Draught. It's a medicine that will give you a max 21 CP on top of what you currently have. And you will need to use these potions for the macro B and C that I will present later on the video. The second item that you will need is the Tsai 2 Vunu HQ that will give you extra CP and control. On top of that, you will need the Crafter Delineations because the Crafter Delineations is required to use a specific capabilities as a specialist for the rotations. So the capabilities that you will use in every rotations that I will give you on the macros will require Earth and Soul, so you will need to get 1 items, the one that I just showed you, the Crafter's Eliminations, for every craft. The Crafter Delineations can be obtained from the script exchange on the MISC, and they are right here, and they cost 15 white script to get. So not a lot of white script to get. But you will need 1 for every recipe. On top of that, the macro will work only if you are at 3,367 in craftsmanship, 3,516 on control, and 586 in CP. I created a video covering the meld of my equipment. I will put this video in the description below. It's in French and in English. So you will be able to see the different material that I used for my equipment to achieve these stats. The last thing that I mentioned is that you need to be a specialist. So you can have only 3 specialist jobs. So do the 3 specialists that you currently have, and after you can exchange your soul crystal and get the soul crystal of a different job until you are completed with all your job. So yeah, that's kind of it about the items that you will require for the macros. We will start first by switching job. So I will go to my goldsmith because I didn't finalize the recipe, the tools for him yet. So I want to use this job as a guinea pig for the test. Sorry, my English is not great. So for the macro number A, for the first one, I will not have to use the Cunning Craftsman's Draught. I only need the Tsai 2 Vunu HQ to get that. So now let's start. Let's go to the material recipe. Let's start the A, and I will start the macro, and I will show you the macro at the same time on my screen. I will also put all the macros on the comments of the video. They are a little bit different than the one that Dr. Momoshi proposed into his website, because some of them that he was proposing didn't really work for me 100% of the time. So I did tweak them a little bit to make sure that they are fitting the need of the video and for you folks. So the Resplendent A recipe is the same than Dr. Momoshi, but the change happened in the macro B and C, and I will explain you the difference. If you want to know the macro that I used, you can check that here. I used this one from Dr. Momoshi for the recipe Resplendent A. I used that one for the Resplendent B, and I used that one for Resplendent C. So you see you have different variations of the Resplendent B. You have that one and that one. I used the first one, and for the C as well, you have two different recipes, and I used the second one. So now let's go back to the craft. So the macro one is done. I will use the second one. So we'll go with the second one. You see that at the end, it will require the earth and soul, and we'll finish with the intensive synthesis. So let's just check that. You see that I'm almost at the maximum of the collectability, but it will be okay. You will be able to get the two material B with this level of collectability, so no worry about that. So you see, to finish the craft, I use earth and soul, and I will finish the craft. So for this one, you're good. So now with the item that you just crafted, you go to Limbeth, you go there, you give her the tool, and you see that the collectability is 1420. I have 425, so I will get 2 materials. Now I get back to my craft. So I will go with the B, and before doing that, I need to use the potions that I was explaining, the Cunning Craftsman's Draught, because I would need some extra CP for this recipe. So now let's start. This macro is decomposed in 3 different blocks. So you have the part 1, the part 2, and the part 3. For the part 3, I did change a little bit. For Dr. Momoshi is doing Beer God Blessing and directly finishing with Careful Synthesis. So this one could work if your free company can enable the free company buff in Control 2. That will give you some extra control. But if you are like me and you cannot decide the buff that your free company can activate, like for me in my example, I have the reduced rate for the teleportation fee and the X earned through battle increased, but I don't have the Control 2. So I had to find a way of tweaking a little bit the macro to make sure that it's working at 100% for me and to get the max collectability. So what I decided to do is that because it's a master recipe and sometimes you will have some proc that you cannot control because it's a macro, sometimes you will finish and you will arrive at Beer God Blessing with an extra CP that shouldn't be here because you probably got some pliant crafting conditions that reduce the number of CP required for a spell. And you will potentially get extra CP, and it will be enough to use the venerations to increase the effect of Careful Synthesis and to be able to achieve the craft. If you don't have enough CP to use venerations, because I think veneration is 18 CP, then you will probably have enough for Careful Synthesis and to finish with a basic synthesis. So now let's try. I will go on the third one. So as you can see, I'm already reached everything. I have enough CP for the venerations, and I got the components done. Sometimes you will see that you will not get enough CP for the venerations, so it will use the Careful Synthesis and the basic synthesis, and you should be able to get to the 100% collectability, and also the craft successful. So let's go here. I will trade my B. I will get 2. And I will go back to my crafting log. I will now start the third one. So the third one, you need 2 again. And again, for this one, you need 3 different macro. So it's in 3 steps. Let's check again together. So you have that one, and that one. The only difference here is, again, for the same reasons. Sometimes during the macro you will get proc that will save you some CP, and this recipe will not give you 100% quality. I tried both of Dr. Momoshi recipe, and they were not giving me all the time 100% collectability. So what I decided to do is, in Dr. Momoshi macro, you have at the end a careful synthesis that will end the craft, but I removed it from my macro to see if I get to Beer God Blessing and I have extra CP, I can create extra rotation, so I can use different other capabilities to reach the 100% collectability. And to get 2 items instead of 1. Because if you just do careful synthesis, you will be able to finalize your craft all the time, but you will get only 1 final material. So you will have to do 60 craft instead of doing only 30 crafts. So I decided to do that. So let's start the Resplendent C now. So as you can see, I'm almost done with the progress. I need only 1 to finish it. And I got lucky and I was able to get the full collectability with the recipe. So now I just have to finish with the basic synthesis and I will finish that. And I got 2 items from the recipe. But let's go back again. Let's do it one time, because this one is really when you are getting lucky, where you can finalize your recipe with a basic synthesis without doing anything else. But usually it's not what is happening to me. I will say that it's a 20% chance scenario, what we just saw on my video. So let's go through a full rotations again of the 3 macros for the Resplendent material C. So we are getting to the end of the macro step 1. And you see, before I continue, you see that the progress is already different than the first craft. You saw that on the first craft I was at 5,469, so 1 apart, but here I'm at 365 from the end, so it's a really different. So now let's go to the macro step 2. And it will change a little bit because, as I said, when you check the conditions, like now it's normal, now it's centered, so action success rate by 25% increase. Here it's primed. Here it's centered, so you see that the condition is changing a lot, and depending of your luck, then you can have totally different conditions during the macro, and it will impact a lot of your CP. And it's why the macro before Endwalker was not possible. And now we go to the third step. So as you can see, I will probably not reach the full collectability on this recipe. Here we go. You see I didn't got it. But I didn't got either. I could do, for example, here, I could, if I want, I could do Mastermind because I have enough CP to get back some durability here. And I could use Hasty Touch, for example. I could use a second one. It will not be enough to finish the craft, but I could try this kind of scenario, or I could try different location scenario to get to the final one. So you see that the basic synthesis was not able to finish the full craft, so I have to use 2 of them, and it's why I kept 15 durability to be able to finish the components. So that's kind of it, and when you're done with your craft, you go here and you can trade your items to get the final material. And for example, for me, I have 6 of them, so I still need 54 of them to be able to get the tool. So yeah, that's kind of it about the video. I hope you will get the motivations to start crafting this tool, because they are super beautiful, to be honest. They take a lot of time. Before full manually per tool, I spent a good 40-50 hours to complete the tool. With the macro, I was able to finish the tool in 6 hours. So divide by 8. So it was pretty cool to be able to do that. So yeah, that's kind of it for the video. I hope you enjoy it. I hope I did motivate you to start to craft that. And if you have any questions or anything, feel free to put a comment on the description below. I will be more than happy to help you, to guide you on maybe some other requirements to get there. But I did spend my last 5 days doing it, and to be honest, I think it's the best solutions to get to your. I will not say best solution, because I'm sure that someone will find something else to do to make it even better. But I think it's a good solution to be able to achieve the craft and the forming of the Resplendent tool with macro. So yeah, if you enjoy it, feel free to put a little like, subscribe to the channel, and see you in the next video. Thank you all. Bye bye.